Hiranyakashipurvaksha Shilatankana Kalaiye Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nrsimha Ahira Nrsimha Hiraye Nrsimha Nrsimha Madim Sharana Prapatye Avakara Kamala Vande Nakamakuta Sringa Kalita Hiranyakashipu Kanupingam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsimhadev 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jai Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Lord Shigitaki,
Jai Ho Jai
Krishna, 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 Krishna,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna, 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 Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Rakshama Krishna 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 Pahima Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshama Krishna Kesava Krishna Kesava Krishna Kesava Pahima.
John.
Yeah, I think you start
Yes.
here, yeah?
So reading from the Krishna book, and this is a meeting of Nanda and Vasudeva, and this is chapter 5. Because Lord Krishna took birth in the house of King Nanda and Mother Yashoda, the goddess of fortune, was obliged to manifest her opulences in Vrindavan. It appeared that Vrindavan had already become a site for the pastimes of the goddess of fortune. After the birth ceremony, Nanda Maharaj decided to go to Mathura to pay the annual tax to the government of Kamsa. Before leaving, he called for the able cowherd men of the village and asked them to take care of Vrindavan in his absence. When Nanda Maharaj arrived in Mathura, Vasudeva got the news and was very eager to congratulate his friend. He immediately went to the place where Nanda Maharaj was staying. When Vasudeva saw Nanda, he felt that he had regained his life, and Nanda, overwhelmed with joy, immediately stood up and embraced Vasudeva. Vasudeva was received very warmly and offered a nice place to sit. At that time, Vasudeva was anxious about his two sons, who had been put under the protection of Nanda, without Nanda's knowledge. With great anxiety, Vasudeva inquired about them. Both Balaram and Krishna were sons of Vasudeva, and Balaram was transferred to the womb of Rohini, and Vasudeva's own wife, but Rohini was kept under the protection of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna was personally delivered to Yashoda and exchanged with her daughter. Nanda Maharaj knew that Balaram was the son of Vasudeva, although he did not know that Krishna was also Vasudeva's son. But Vasudeva was aware of this fact and inquired very eagerly about Krishna and Balaram. Vasudeva then addressed him, "My dear brother, you were old enough and very anxious to beget a son, and yet you had none. Now, by the grace of the Lord, you are fortunate to have a very nice son. I think that this incident is very auspicious for you. Dear friend, I was imprisoned by Kamsa, and now I'm released, and therefore there is another birth for me. I had no hope of seeing you again, but by God's grace I can see you." Vasudeva then expressed his anxiety. about Krishna. And Krishna was sent incognito to the bed of Mother Yashoda, and after very pompously celebrating his birth ceremony, Nanda went to Mathura. So Vasudeva was very pleased and said, "This is a new birth for me." He never expected that Krishna would live because all his other sons were killed by Kamsa. Vasudeva continued, "My dear friend, it is very difficult for us to live together. And although we have our family and relatives, sons and daughters, by Krishna's way, we are generally separated from one another. The reason for this is that every living entity appears on earth under different pressures of fruitive activities. Although they are assembled together, there is no certainty of their remaining together for a long time. According to one's fruitive activities, one has to act differently and thereby be separated. For example, many plants and creepers are floating on the waves of the ocean, and sometimes they come together and sometimes they separate forever. One plant goes one way and another plant goes another. Similarly, our family assembly may be very nice while we're living together, but after some time, in the course of the waves of time, we are separated. The purport of this expression by Vasudeva is that although he had 8 sons born in the womb of Devaki, unfortunately they were all gone. He could not even keep his one son Krishna with him. Vasudeva was feeling his separation but could not express the real fact. "Please tell me about the welfare of Vrindavan," he said. "You have many animals. Are they happy? Are they getting sufficient grass and water? Please also let me know whether the place where you are now living is undisturbed and peaceful." This inquiry was made by Vasudeva because he was very anxious about Krishna's safety. He knew that Kamsa and his followers were trying to kill Krishna by sending various kinds of demons. They had already resolved that all children born within 10 days of the birthday of Krishna should be killed. Because Vasudeva was so anxious about Krishna, he inquired about the safety of his residents. He also inquired about Balram and his daughter his mother Rohini, who were entrusted to the care of Nanda Maharaj. Vasudeva also reminded Nanda Maharaj that Balram did not know his real father. "He knows you as his father, and now you have another child, Krishna, and I think you are taking very nice care for both of them." It is also significant that Vasudeva inquired about the welfare of Nanda Maharaj's animals. The animals, especially the cows, were protected exactly in the manner of one's children. Vasudeva was a Satriya and Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya. It is the duty of the Satriya to give protection to the citizens of mankind. It is the duty of the Vaishyas to give protection to the cows. The cows are as important as the citizens. Just as the human citizens should be given all kinds of protection, so the cows also should be given full protection. Vasudeva continued to say that the maintenance of religious principles, economic development and satisfactory execution of meeting the demands of the senses depend on cooperation.
Depend on cooperation among relatives, nations and all humanity. Therefore, it is everyone's duty to see that his fellow citizens and the cows are not put into difficulty. One should see to the peace and comfort of his fellow men and the animals. The development of religious principles, economic development and sense gratification can then be achieved without difficulty. Vasudeva expressed his sorrow due to not being able to give protection to his own sons born of Devaki. He was thinking that religious principles, economic development and the satisfaction of his senses were therefore all lost. On hearing this, Nanda Maharaj replied, "My dear Vasudeva, I know that you are very much aggrieved because the cruel King Kamsa has killed all your sons born of Devaki. Although the last child was a daughter, Kamsa could not kill her, and she has entered into the celestial planets. My dear friend, do not be aggrieved. We are all being controlled by our past unseen activities. Everyone is subjected to his past deeds, and one who is conversant with the philosophy of karma and its reaction is a man in knowledge. Such a person will not be aggrieved at any incident, happy or miserable. You don't agree with this way of pacifying your friend?
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, don't worry, just your karma.
Just your karma. Viewpoint of mine.
Vasudev then replied, "My dear Nanda, if you have already paid the government taxes, then return soon to your place, because I think that there may be some disturbances in Gokula." After the friendly conversation between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev, Vasudev returned to his home. The cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, who had gone to Mathura to pay their taxes, also returned. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 5th chapter of Krishna, meeting of Nanda and Vasudeva. Chapter 6, Putana killed. While Nanda Maharaj was returning home, he considered Vasudeva's warning that there might be some disturbance in Gokula. Certainly, the advice was friendly and not false. So Nanda began to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is quite natural for a devotee in danger to think of Krishna, because he has no other shelter. When a child is in danger, he takes shelter of his mother or father. Similarly, a devotee is always under the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when he specifically sees some danger, he remembers the Lord very rapidly. After consulting with his demoniac ministers, Kamsa instructed a witch named Putana, who knew the black art of killing small children by ghastly sinful methods, to kill all kinds of children in the cities, villages, and pasturing grounds. Interesting. Children in the pasturing grounds. Such witches can play their black art only where there is no chanting or hearing of the holy name of Krishna. It is said that wherever the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done, even negligently, all bad elements, witches, ghosts, and dangerous calamities immediately disappear. And this is certainly true of the place where the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done seriously, especially in Vrindavan, when the Supreme Lord was personally present. Therefore, the doubts of Nanda Maharaj were certainly based on affection. So what should we do now? One more page?
One more page.
Okay. Affection for Krishna. Actually, there was no danger from the activities of Putana, despite her powers. Such witches are called Kechari, which means they can fly in the sky. This black art of witchcraft is still practiced by some women in the remote northwestern side of India. Northwestern is where is Kashmir. Right? They can transfer themselves from one place to another on the branch of an uprooted tree. Putana knew this witchcraft, and therefore she is described in the Bhagavatam as Kechari. Putana entered the country of Gokula, the residential quarter of Nanda Maharaj, without permission. Dressing herself just like a beautiful woman, she entered the house of Mother Yashoda. She appeared very beautiful, with raised hips, nicely swollen breast, earrings, and flowers in her hair. She looked especially beautiful on account of her thin waist. She was glancing at everyone with very attractive looks and smiling face, and all the residents of Vrindavan were captivated. The innocent cowherd woman thought that she was a goddess of fortune appearing in Vrindavan with a lotus flower in her hand. It seemed to them that she had personally come to see Krishna, who is her husband. Because of her exquisite beauty, no one checked her movement, and therefore she freely entered the house of Nanda Maharaj. Putana, the killer of many, many children, found baby Krishna lying on a small bed, and she could not once perceive that the baby she could at once perceive that the baby was hiding his unparalleled potencies. Putana thought, this child is so powerful that he can destroy the whole universe immediately. Putana's understanding is very significant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is situated in everyone's heart. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that he gives one necessary intelligence, and he also causes one to forget. Putana was immediately aware that the child whom she was observing in the house of Nanda Maharaj was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He was lying there as a small baby, but that does not mean that he was less powerful. The materialistic theory that God worship is anthropomorphic is not correct. No living being can become God by undergoing meditation or austerities. God is always God. Krishna as the child baby is as complete as he is as a full-fledged youth. The Mayavadi theory holds that the living entity was formerly God but was now become overwhelmed by the influence of Maya. Therefore they say that presently he is not God, but when the influence of Maya is taken away, then he again becomes God. This theory cannot be applied to the minute living entities.
Living entities are minute parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are minute particles or sparks of the Supreme Fire, but they are not the original fire or Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead even from the beginning of his appearance in the house of Vasudeva and Devaki. Krishna showed the nature of a small baby and closed his eyes as if to avoid the face of Putana. This closing of the eyes is interpreted and studied in different ways by the devotees. Some say that Krishna closed his eyes because he did not like to see the face of Putana, who killed so many children and who had now come to kill him. Others say that something extraordinary was being dictated to her, and in order to give her assurance, Krishna closed his eyes so that she would not be frightened. And yet others interpret in this way: Krishna appeared to kill the demons and give protection to the devotees. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasyaya chaduskritam. The first demon to be killed was a woman. According to Vedic rules, the killing of a woman, a Brahman, cows, or a child is forbidden. Krishna was obliged to kill the demon Putana, and because the killing of a woman is forbidden according to Vedic Sastra, he could not help but close his eyes. Another interpretation is that Krishna closed his eyes because he simply took Putana to be his nurse. Putana came to Krishna just to offer a breast for the Lord to suck. Krishna is so merciful that even though he knew Putana was there to kill him, he took her as his nurse or mother. There are 7 kinds of mothers according to Vedic injunction. The real mother, the real mother, the wife of a teacher or spiritual master, the wife of a king, the wife of a brahmana, the cow, the nurse, and Mother Earth. Because Putana came to take Krishna on her lap and offer her breast milk to be sucked by him, she was accepted by Krishna as one of his mothers. That is considered to be another reason why he closed his eyes. He had to kill a nurse or mother, but his killing of his mother or nurse was no different from his love for his real mother or foster mother, Yashoda. We further understand from Vedic information that Putana was also treated as a mother and given the same facility as Yashoda. As Yashoda was given liberation from the material world, Putana was also given liberation. When the baby Krishna closed his eyes, Putana took him on her lap. She did not know that she was holding death personified. If a person mistakes a snake for a rope, he dies, and similarly Putana killed so many babies before meeting Krishna. But now she was accepting the snake that would kill her immediately. When Putana was taking baby Krishna on her lap, both Yashoda and Rohini were present, but they did not forbid her, because she was so beautifully dressed and because she showed motherly affection towards Krishna. They could not understand that she was a sword with a decorated case. Putana had smeared a very powerful poison on her breasts, and immediately after taking the baby on her lap, she pushed her breast nipple within his mouth. She was hoping that as soon as he would suck her breast, he would die. But baby Krishna very quickly took the nipple in anger, and he sucked the milk poison along with the life air of the demon. In other words, Krishna simultaneously sucked the milk from her breast and killed her by sucking out her life. Krishna is so merciful that because the demon Putana came to offer her breast milk to him, he fulfilled her desire and accepted her activities motherly. But to stop her from further nefarious activities, he immediately killed her. And because the demon was killed by Krishna, she got liberation. When Krishna sucked out her very breath, Putana fell down on the ground and spread her arms and legs and began to cry, "Oh child, leave me, leave me." She was crying loudly and perspiring, and her whole body became wet. As she died, screaming, there was a tremendous vibration both on the earth and in the sky, in all directions, and people thought that thunderbolts were falling. Thus the nightmare of the Putana witch was over, and she assumed her real form as a great demon. She opened her fierce mouth and spread her arms and legs all over. She fell exactly as Vitrasura when struck by the thunderbolt of Indra. The long hair on her head was scattered all over her body. Her fallen body extended up to 12 miles and smashed all the trees to pieces. And everyone was struck with wonder upon seeing this gigantic body. Her teeth appeared just like ploughed roads, and her nostrils appeared just like mountain caves. Her breasts appeared just like small hills, and her hair was a vast reddish bush. Her eye sockets appeared like blind wells, and her 2 thighs appeared like 2 banks of a river. Her 2 hands appeared like 2 strong, well-constructed bridges, and her abdomen seemed like a dried-up lake. All the coward men and women became
struck with awe and wonder upon seeing this, and the tumultuous sound of her falling shocked their brains and ears and made their hearts beat strongly. Shocked their brains. Amazing. When the gopis saw little Krishna fearlessly playing on Putana's lap, they very quickly came and picked him up. Mother Yashoda, Rohini, and other elderly gopis immediately performed the auspicious rituals by taking the tail of a cow and circumambulating his body. The child was completely washed with the urine of a cow, and the dust created by the hooves of the cows was thrown all over his body. This was all just to save little Krishna from future inauspicious accidents. This incident gives us a clear indication of how important the cow is to the family, society, and to living beings in general. The transcendental body of Krishna did not require any protection, but to instruct us on the importance of the cow, the Lord was smeared all over with cow dung, washed with the urine of a cow, and sprinkled with the dust upraised by the walking of the cows. After this purificatory process, the gopis, headed by Mother Yashoda and Rohini, chanted 12 names of Vishnu to give Krishna's body full protection from all evil influences. They washed their hands and feet and sipped water 3 times, as is the custom before chanting mantra. They chanted as follows: "My dear Krishna, may the Lord, who is known as Maniman, protect your thighs. May Lord Vishnu, who is known as Yagya, protect your legs. May Lord Achyuta protect your arms. May Lord Hayagriva protect your abdomen. May Lord Keshava protect your heart. May Lord Vishnu protect your arms. May Lord Urukrama protect your face. May Lord Ishvara protect your head. May Lord Chakradhara protect your front. May Lord Karadhar protect your back. May Lord Madhusudana, who carries a bow in his hand, protect your right side. May Lord Vishnu, with his conch shell, protect your left side. May the personality of Godhead Upendra protect you from above, and may Lord Darkshaya protect you from below the earth. May Lord Haladhara protect you from all sides. May the personality of Godhead known as Rishikesh protect all your senses. May Lord Narayana protect your life heirs. And may the Lord of Shvetadvip, Narayana protect your heart. First is, may Lord Narayana protect your life heirs, and may the Lord of Shvetadvip, Narayana, protect your heart. Maybe they're different Narayanas. I'm not sure. Maybe they're different Narayanas. May Lord Yogeshwara protect your mind. May Lord Prishnikharva protect your intelligence. And may the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect your soul. While you are playing, may Lord Govinda protect you from all Protect you from all sides. And when you are sleeping, may Lord Madhava protect you from all danger. When you are walking, may the Lord of Vaikuntha protect you from falling down. When you are sitting, may the Lord of Vaikuntha give you all protection. And while you are eating, may the Lord of all sacrifices give you all protection. Thus Mother Yashoda began to chant different names of Vishnu to protect her child Krishna's different bodily parts. Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced that she should protect her child from different kinds of evil spirits and ghosts, namely Dakinis, Yatudhanis, Kushumandas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Vinyakas, Kottara, Revati, Chesta, Putana, Matrikas, Unmadas, and similar other evil spirits who cause persons to forget their own existence and give trouble to their life heirs and senses. Maybe that's what's wrong happening with your health. Sometimes they appear in dreams and cause much perturbation. Sometimes they appear as old women and suck the blood of small children. But all such ghosts and evil spirits cannot remain where there is chanting of the holy name of God. Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced of the Vedic injunctions about the importance of cows and the holy name of Vishnu. Therefore she took all shelter in the cows and the name of Vishnu just to protect her child Krishna. She recited all the holy names of Vishnu so that he might save the child. Vedic culture has taken advantage of keeping cows and chanting the holy name of Vishnu since the beginning of history, and persons who are still following the Vedic ways, especially the householders, keep at least 1,000 cows, worship the deity of Lord Vishnu who is installed in their homes. The elderly gopis of Vrindavan were so absorbed in affection for Krishna that they wanted to save him, although there was no need to, for he had already protected himself. They could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead playing as a child. After performing the formalities to protect the child, Mother Yashoda took Krishna and let him suck her own breast. When the child was protected by Vishnu mantra, Mother Yashoda felt that he was safe. In the meantime, all the cowherd men who went to Mathura to pay tax returned home and were struck with wonder at seeing the gigantic dead body of Putana. Nanda Maharaj recalled the prophecy of Vasudeva and considered him a great sage and mystic yogi. Otherwise, how could he have foretold an incident that happened during his absence from Vrindavana? So, Maharaj Nanda considered Vasudeva a great sage and mystic yogi. That's a nice point here. And we end with this nice point.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There is beautiful altar decorations with a beautiful Panchatattva.